Hello again, it's Kurt Ballard with Advanced Calibration Designs with an instructional video on how to operate a Cal 2000 calibration gas system. In this particular example, we've got the Cal 2000 instrument and the source we're using is for hydrogen sulfide gas. We sell different sources, so you can buy one instrument and then buy sources for hydrogen, chlorine, chlorine dioxide, whatever different gases that we sell, and you put the source into the instrument and then calibrate gas detectors with it. First, to go over the Cal 2000 instrument, you see this is the display. This is the power and select buttons. They're also used as up and down arrows. This is where the Cal gas comes out of the instrument, so this is the exhaust of the instrument. The ambient air comes into the Cal 2000 here. It goes into a flow manifold and through a charcoal filter to scrub all the background air and make sure it's clean. If you ever get if you work in a real dirty environment, we sell replacement charcoal filters. They just go on with an O-ring seal. You throw this one away, replace it, put it in, and again, O-ring seal it, just push it down into place. On the bottom of the unit, to access the inside of the instrument, you push up on these 4 plunger feet fasteners and remove the bottom plate. Here's the 4 C batteries that the instrument runs on. This is the AC jack, so you can run this on a continuous operation adapter, okay? Now the source has 2 caps on top of it, but you never need to remove them. There's a little sign there that says do not remove the caps, but in general, they're only there because sometimes in real dry atmospheres, the electrolyte inside here will sort of dry up and you can take those 2 off and add distilled water. There are O-ring seals at the top again, so generally, you're never going to take them off. If you do, to add water to it, then put the caps on tight and you're ready to go. The generating source has these ears on the side and this keyway, so it can only go in one way. And you can see this 4-pin male connector fits into this female ribbon connector. And if I try to put it in there backwards, you can see I just can't. So you turn it around this way and you insert the cell in the unit, okay? Once I've got it in there, if I want to take it out, what I do is I push in and down on this window and the cell pops out and I can replace it with another generating source, generating cell, okay? I'm going to illustrate for you what happens if you don't get that generating cell in there correctly. When you turn it on, if you say run the connector right next to the ribbon connector, or you've got one of the pins bent and not in there, that's what you get. You get a cell failure and the unit shuts itself off. If you ever get that, flip it over, take the cell out, line those pins up, put it back in, and you're good to go. All right, so I'm going to put the cell in the unit. All right, now I'm going to put the bottom plate back on so the batteries don't fall out if I'm walking around using the thing. All right, so it's all sealed up and ready to go. To power on the Cal 2000, press and hold the power button for 3 seconds. It shows you the serial number, the cell serial number, and the instrument serial number. It shows the calibration date and the manufactured date. All right. Now it shows you how much cell life is left. This one has 41 hours left, and then it shows you flow rate and the concentration. The flow rate and concentration that come up are whatever it remembers your last setting. So many of our customers only use one concentration and flow rate. If you do, every time you turn it on, it comes up to that. The last time I used this, it was flowing at 0.6 liters per minute and 15 parts per million. Because it's an electrochemical generator, the first time you turn it on, it has to stabilize for 5 minutes, and you see that it's counting down from 300 seconds, okay? Now, I don't know if you saw it when it came by. When it first showed you, as it's going through its startup, it showed the flow rate and the concentration, and it said select to change. Right there, you could have changed the concentration or flow rate. Also, anytime you want, you can do that. So let's say now I don't want 15 parts per million or 0.6 liters per minute. I want to change that. So I hit the select. It shows me the battery status, this quick select function, and the 0.6 for the flow rate, and it says select to change. And now here's where the power and select become up and down arrows, okay? So I'm going to set it at popular flow rate, which is 0.5 liters per minute. Now it shows me concentration, 15 ppm, select to change. Now I can go up and down, okay? So I'm going to change it to 10 parts per million. This way you can calibrate anybody's sensor virtually on the market. Whatever concentration they ask for, you just set the unit to it and that flow rate and go, okay? So there's the unit's calibrated, it's stabilizing at 10 ppm, half a liter a minute, okay? Now, let's say we're going to calibrate a diffusion type instrument. This Otologger right here is a gas sensor that does not have a pump built into it. And this is its calibration adapter. Every Cal 2000 comes with a hose like this. It's Viton tubing with a Teflon lining on the inside, so it's non-reactive. It won't absorb the gas. Otolog sends this calibration cup, but this applies for everybody. You can use this hose that we give you. You attach it to whatever manufacturer's calibration adapter you have, and then you can calibrate their sensor. This is a quick connect, so it's a quarter turn. Okay, the hose is on, and now there's hydrogen sulfide gas being delivered out of this. Okay, now we wouldn't really go into the calibrate mode until this has stabilized, but this is just an instructional video showing you how to do it. So I'll plug that in there. You can see that it's actually generating the gas. You see this Otologger's coming up right now. I mean, it doesn't take the full 5 minutes, but to be completely stable, that's what we have set the output for. Okay, now let's say we've gone through, this is how you calibrate. So let's say we've gone through that and now we want to calibrate a different kind of sensor, and it's going to be a sample drawing sensor. Okay, so I'm all done. I've calibrated 50 Otologgers, done with that for the day. I put that aside. Now I've got another type of sensor that has an internal pump. And this right here, I've got a GX 2012, and it is already in the calibrate mode, and it's got an internal pump, and it flows at about 0.35 liters per minute. Now, because the Cal 2000 has a pump and the sensor, this GX 2012 has a pump, they would fight each other. So if I've got this set to 0.5 and I've got this set to its sample drawing rate is 0.35, what you will get is you'll get a flow failure out of your Cal 2000. So I'm going to simulate that. If I hooked it up to that unit, I don't know if you can hear it, but the pump is ramping up because I've plugged the outlet. This happens also if you pinch the hose or something. The Cal 2000 has to have the correct flow rate, so it monitors for that. And if the flow rate is not correct, it'll give you a flow failure indication, and then eventually it will shut itself off if you don't cure that situation where you've got kinked hose or so. There's flow too low, right? So it's warning you that if I'd left my thumb over the hole, it would have shut itself off eventually. But I let go of it, so now we can see that, okay, it's coming back to life. All right. So to avoid a flow failure problem, what I can do is I can shut the pump off on the Cal 2000, flow 0.5, select to change. I'll set it to 0, right? And then it goes into what we call sample draw mode. So it asks me to stabilize the flow. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up this GX 2012 to my Cal 2000, and it is measuring the flow. So it says, okay, I'm pulling in a sample at about 0.4 liters per minute. All right. Now, when you stop the flow, it automatically shuts off the current to the cell, so it doesn't generate gas into a dead space. So the first time you do that, you have to select the concentration you want. Okay. So it's going to go through and show me the flow rate. I've got it set to 0 because I'm in sample draw mode. And I've got 0 parts per million as well. I can select some output. Everybody likes 25. Let's go to 25. So the range on this cell is 0.5 to 50 parts per million. I set it at 25 here. And now it's going to start its stabilization again. It's checking the flow to make sure the flow is okay. And when the flow sensor likes it, it starts to stabilize at 25 parts per million. Now again, the first time, I've got to let this thing stabilize at 25 parts per million before I calibrate my gas detector, and I'm not going to go through that whole thing with you, but you can see it. It's coming up 11, 12, 12 and a half, because we're passing current and it's stabilizing, going through the hose into the unit. And now, if I wanted to, I could calibrate this sample draw unit. All right, and I'm going to unhook that and show you one other way to do it. Okay, so the other way to calibrate a sample drawing sensor with a Cal 2000 is to set the flow rate above the flow rate that the sample drawing sensor is pulling at. In this case, we know this GX 2012 is pulling its sample at about 0.4 liters per minute. And I've set the Cal 2000 to 0.7. Anywhere above 0.4 is okay. Then what I do is I put a dump T in the line, right? So gas is coming out of the Cal 2000 at 0.7 liters per minute. The excess gas is dumped out of here, and the gas that is being drawn at 0.4 liters per minute by the GX 2012 is free to flow, and nobody flow fails. So the GX 2012 is now reading, the Cal 2000 is putting out 10 ppm. It's reading about 12. You can see the display on that. My hose is not long enough to see everything. But anyway, that's how you can do it there. Again, you would wait until this is stabilized. It's counting down to like 100 seconds here. And then you'd go into the calibration routine, set it to 10 parts per million, and go to the next and the next. And the advantage of using that mode is that you don't have to wait for a stabilization period between instruments. Okay, so when I'm all done calibrating everything, and I unhook that and I'm done for the day, the way to power off the unit is to press and hold the power button for 3 seconds again. Then the unit goes into purge mode. The reason it does that is simply to get all of the corrosive gas out of the system. Everything we make is corrosive and nasty, so you want that out of the system. So you're done. When you can walk away from this, and in 5 minutes it'll be off. It's not generating any gas, it's just pulling ambient air in and shooting it out to get all the corrosive gases out of the system. And there you are. Now you know everything you need to know to correctly operate a Cal 2000 gas generator.